And there are like basically 3 rounds of selection. So in the first round, the priest will perform some rituals. It's again based on Tantra, and they will try to invite the goddess in the bodies of those girls like who are participating in it. It's just like a 5 or 10 minutes ritual. All that happens is like we have to sit in a row, and then the priest will give us some flour or maybe some grains of rice that is spelled over with the tantra practices, and they ask us to hold it for a while, like maybe like 5 minutes. And with the power of that rice grains or maybe the flowers, what happens is like the one who is liked by the goddess, they start showing some signs, like maybe their face will appear red, maybe they start rolling their eyes, they will show some gestures that are in relation to the goddess, like the goddess's gestures. And some say that their temperature, it rises, like if people touch them, they can feel that it's the above the normal human temperature. I think the ones who are chosen as a goddess, they are a little bit different from their birth, that normal god. My mom would say that I was like very mature beyond my age. I was very polite and calm, and I knew the behavioral aspects. I was like well behaved as a kid, like opposed to other kids of my age. So I think there is something special that comes with us, because we are brought into this world for a special purpose. So maybe we come with all those qualities in us.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the episode 4 of the PVT show. This is a very, very special conversation with a very special person today. What if I told you that we will be meeting a goddess on this podcast? Yes, a former living goddess known as the Kumari from Patan, Nepal. She served from 2001 to 2010. Well, the tradition of Kumari involves a very stringent tantric process of selecting young, pre puberty or pubescent girls from specific Newar clans to be worshipped as living incarnations of the Hindu goddess Maa Taleju until they reach their puberty. This is the culture, very thick culture. The guest who we are meeting during her lifetime as a Kumari, she lived a life of significant religious importance, performing ritual blessings and being revered by the whole Nepalese community, state, the king, and the queen. What is important in her life is after her divine tenure, transitioning back to the normal life was very, very challenging. Kumaris like her often face difficulties adapting due to the sheltered and revered life that they lead until their puberty. This shift can be particularly stark mentally and emotionally, very, very challenging for anyone. However, former goddess, who we are talking today, is no less than huge inspiration for the younger generation. She went on to obtain her master's degree in business administration, allowing her to secure a great position in the financial sector. Well, ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, meet the former living goddess, Chanira Bajracharya ji, with her astonishing story that is no less than inspiration for the new whole younger generation. A journey from a living goddess to a financial analyst. Let's deep dive into her journey, into her story of mental resilience today. Namaskar, Shanira ji. A very warm welcome to the PVT show powered by Conscious Co Leadership. Here we have conversations that truly energize one's mind. I'm so honored to be having you on my show today.
Thank you, Punamji. Namaskar. It's my honor to be here with you on this podcast. Really excited.
Thank you so much. I'm equally excited, and I have always been looking for stories that are unusual. I've been always looking for lives that are unusual, and I was fascinated when I started reading about this huge culture that exists in Nepal. You have been a former Kumari, for everyone's understanding, literally the living goddess. How did this happen in your life? Let's start from there.
Actually, as you said, in Nepal, we have this very beautiful culture of worshiping young girls as living goddesses. And I think this tradition started a very, very long time back. You can associate this goddess Kumari with goddess Taleju Bhavani. Like Taleju Bhavani is a form of goddess Parvati. She's a supreme figure in Hinduism. And living goddess Kumari is believed to be the incarnation of that Taleju goddess. So Taleju goddess is, I think, equally revered in most part of India as well. There is, if I'm not wrong, there's a place called Tuljapur in India
Yes.
in her name. So I believe like Kumari is a different thing and Taleju is a different thing. But later she the Taleju goddess, she was first handed over to Indra, the king of heaven, by Lord Shiva himself, like in a form of a yantra for worshipping and venerations. And then Meghnad, who was the son of Ravan, when he conquered in the heaven over Indra, he got that yantra to Lanka. And
Mhm.
after Lord Ram's victory over Lanka, he brought that yantra to India. And then it was passed on from generations to generations of kings, and it has been like widely revered. And it was like there was a king called Harisima Dev,
Mhm.
um, was like who used to worship that yantra, and it was in Simrongad. It is a small king. It was a kingdom then, but it's a small city here in Nepal India border. So I think that city faced an attack by someone, and the king had to, take refuge to Nepal. So that king, along with his wife, the queen, they brought this yantra to Nepal, and they established this shrine of goddess Taleju here in a city called Bhaktapur. So that's how the goddess entered the Nepal. And since then, the Malla kings had been like worshipping Taleju goddess as their patron deity. We call it Kul Devi, and we believe she is the protector of our country. And how this culture, like how Taleju Bhavani became Kumari, why a little young girl took over the Tiantra, is because there's one another story where we believe that there was a king, a Malla king, who had that we believe they are very good with tantra practices, and they can directly communicate with the goddess in their physical
Mhm.
form. They can meet. So one unfortunate day, they were like, the goddess could come and physically talk to the king and guide him on matters of governance, maybe. And maybe they would also play some games, like maybe dice
Mhm.
games. So the king had some bad feelings toward the goddess. One legend says that. And then goddess, who is like, who knows everything, she knew that the king had bad feelings, so she got angry and she disappeared from there. And there are like 17 different versions of how this there are different stories where in some tales they say the queen saw the king with another girl who's the goddess, and the goddess disappeared. But no matter what the story is, what is common in between all of them is that the goddess disappears because of
Mhm.
some mistake that the king did. And she said that she will never appear to the king in her visible form ever again. And then king realized his mistake. He was like repenting, he was seeking forgiveness, he was like very sad that she shouldn't have done that. And then the goddess said that, okay, like if you are really feeling bad for what you did, just I will never show you my physical form. You can take a young girl and worship her as an incarnation of myself, and I would bless you through her. And that's how worshiping young girls as goddesses, the tradition, this started. And there are many Kumaris in the country. Like the main one is from Kathmandu, which is the capital city. She is the most revered, most popular living goddess. She has a whole festival that is dedicated for her. She gets the highest of respect. And she has a palace where she has to live in. She cannot live with her family, so there's a caretaker's family who takes care of her during the period that she is Kumari. And there is the second city here, which is called Patan. She is the
Mhm.
second most important Kumari. She's also like very similar to the Kathmandu one. And she also has like this 24/7 rule that she cannot go outside of her house, and she has to stay inside in all the Kumari attire and everything. And there are other Kumaris in other cities, which is not a full time Kumari, I would say. They are part time. They dress up as goddesses in the morning. They are worshipped by a small group of community, and then they can still go to school. They can still enjoy the modern life. It's like a hybrid model of the Kumari and modern life together. So that's how, like, I am from Patan, the second most important, which I said. And I think it was all destined as how I was chosen to become a Kumari. My mom used to say that I was like really special from the time of birth, like when she conceived, when she got pregnant with me, as she said, she got a very beautiful dream.
Mhm.
And since my birth, there's been like auspicious things happening in the family, and they knew that I was like very different than any other girls. And when that day came, like it was all of a sudden, I think I would say it's a destiny that I got chosen.
Do you believe in destiny?
I do. Yes.
So, that's such a beautiful story about how it happened, and that's the beauty of history and mythology, everything put together. I don't want to demarcate it
Mhm,
as whether it is history, it
mhm,
has archaeological proof or no, or it is just a mythology. It is something that is a part, deep-seated part of our culture. I would put
mhm,
it this way. So, I was actually fascinated to know that it's a very unique combination.
mhm.
We all know yin yang. We all know Shiva and Parvati, Shiva and Shakti. And this culture fascinated me, and I really want to know about this in depth with you, from you. That one is Kathmandu is famous all over the world for the UNESCO heritage site, which is Pashupatinath temple, which
Mhm,
is the oldest and the biggest temple of Shiva, Lord Shiva. And here at the same place, you have Living Goddess, the story that you told us.
mhm.
They coexist, and they exist in reverence. They exist not as a tradition, as a festival, but the way you said that there is a hybrid Kumari and there is a full time, I believe you served as a full time Kumari.
Yeah.
It becomes a part of not your life, it is your life for several years. How does it feel to be a Kumari?
Um, I think like because Kumaris are chosen when they're very young, like from 3 years to 5 years. I was five when I was chosen as a goddess. It was like too young to have any sort of like feel, understanding of what was going on in my life. But it was only a few years later that I realized that I hold a special position in the society, and I was chosen for a special purpose, that is to help people, help
Mm.
devotees. And I felt really blessed because, as I always say, not all girls have that destiny or that blessing to become a goddess. And I had that blessing. I was the chosen one, and I feel really, really blessed.
So, how are Kumaris selected?
The selection process is like it's different for each and every series that I told you. I would be like explaining from my side. It's more about tantra. You understand tantra, right? It's like
It would be very nice to understand from you.
I don't know. It's like a process where we can connect with
Yeah.
someone who is the higher beings or the lower beings through ritual practices. So basically, when the Kumari has a first period, she is no more able to sit in that throne as a Kumari, and then her family will inform that we need a new Kumari. So in our place, there is a community called Hakka Bahal. It's a closed community. It's a Buddhist community, though it has like around 150 families, from where only the daughters from that particular community can become the Kumari. It's like a eligibility criteria. So all
Mm.
the girls who are in between like 3 to 6 years old, they will get invitations to take part in the selection process. And the parents, they have the right to send their daughters for the selection or don't send. It's their parents' decision.
Okay. Okay.
And when in my time there were like 7 or 8 other girls, including me. All I remember was that I was taken to that community, and there was all other girls sitting there, and there were a group of selection team, the members,
Mm.
which included priest from the Taleju temple. We have a Taleju temple here, which like Mari, because she's an incarnation of the goddess. So the
Yeah.
main priest holds like the most important role there, and the royal priest, the wife of the royal priest, some astrologers, and some government officials who are into the tradition and culture, and some community members, some from the ex-Kumari's family. All of them, they come together as a selection team, and then there are like basically 3 rounds of selection. So in the first round, the priest will perform some rituals. It's again based on tantra, and
Right.
they will try to invite the goddess in the bodies of those girls like who are participating in it. It's just like a 5 or 10 minutes ritual. All that happens is like we have to sit in a row, and then the priest
Mm.
will give us some flour or maybe some grains of rice that is spelled over with the tantra practices, and they ask us to hold it for a while, like maybe like 5 minutes, and with the power of that rice grains or maybe the flowers, what happens is like the one who is liked by the goddess, they start showing some signs, like maybe their face will appear red, maybe they start rolling their eyes, they will show some gestures that are in relation to the goddess, like the goddess's gestures. And some say that their temperature, it rises, like if people touch them, they can feel that it's the above the normal human temperature. And
Mm,
everyone present there will see that she's being, like possessed by the goddess, whereas the ones that are not liked or that are not eligible, they
mm,
start, feeling uneasy, maybe they start crying, they just show some signs that, and they may like voluntarily walk out from the selection. So
mm,
from the first round, top three are selected, the ones who show like, the most of those signs. And then they are forwarded to the second round, where
oh,
these girls are taken to the house of the royal priest, and the wife
mm,
of the priest will like take those girls into room one by one, just the wife of the priest and the girls, and she will take off our clothes and see that like if we have any cuts, any birthmarks, any scars that may disqualify us. So
oh, okay.
there are 32 perfection that are listed in our historical books, which is called as Battislakshan. It's like
Mm,
good things, physical attributes to have in a girl's bodies. So the wife will check for those traits in those girls, and the one with the maximum number of those traits will be declared as a goddess. And the next round is it is on the fourth day after the selection. She is taken to the Taleju temple, where she's formally initiated as a goddess, and she is like dressed up as a goddess for the first time, and she leaves that role of a normal kid and get
mm.
like transforms to a goddess then. So that's how a Kumari is chosen.
That's a very stringent and very defined process, I would say.
Yeah.
What happens to the girls? You come from the lot who was, of course, selected. So now, when you grow up, you know that it was such a stringent process, and but this guna sampan, like how we say Ramji is, you know.
Yeah.
So, how did it feel when you were selected as a Kumari? I'm sure you don't even remember. It was 2001, right?
It was,
When you
yes,
were.
2001.
But what was your age when you started understanding that you are in a divine,
I think it was
uh,
7 or 8.
after so
But
many years?
yeah, I think the ones who are chosen as a goddess, they are a little bit different from their birth than normal god. My mom would say that I was like very mature beyond my age. I was very polite and calm, and I knew the behavioral aspects. I was like well behaved as a kid, like opposed to
Mm.
other kids of my age. So I think there is something special that comes with us, because we are brought into this world for a special purpose. So maybe we come with all those qualities in us.
Yeah, very well said and beautifully said. What is a typical day of the Kumari?
I used to like wake up at around 6 in the morning, and we needed to have a holy bath. My mom would help me with that. And there's a special hairstyle that Kumari has to put on. My mom will help me with that also. There's a special makeup for the Kumari. The eyeliner is going up to here,
Yeah,
and the red tika and everything. So we would be dressed up in the Kumari attire. And in the morning, the priest will perform a puja. It's a
yeah,
nitya puja. It's like a big puja every day. It has to continue, and the Kumari can only eat after that ritual. It's like a 30 minutes ritual that goes on, offering of flowers, fruits to the Kumari, the goddess. And
yeah.
then after that rituals, if anyone from the community, they want to get blessing from the Kumari, they can come in, and there will be like lines of like devotees who are coming to see the Kumari and get blessed with a lot of their problems in life. And it can go on depending upon the number of devotees. Like I used to skip breakfast sometimes and directly have lunch because of you know
Oh,
the devotees.
so many hours, you mean?
Yes, like 2 to 3 hours. It depends. Usually Saturdays, weekends, or special occasions like Dashai maybe. There's a special
Hmm.
festival, then there'll be like hundreds and hundreds of people going, like devotees. And if in a normal day, sometimes there would be one or two. It depends. So, and then I used to have my lunch, and a teacher would come in to teach me, and the classes would go on for like 2 3 hours. And in the evening, it's more like a normal ritual, not ritual side. It's just normal playing with my cousins maybe, and watching TV, just surfing in the internet. Evening is more free, and before we sleep, there's an aarti ritual that we have to do, and that's all.
But you were not allowed to wear any other clothes. You had to be in that attire the whole day.
Yes. It has to be the red dress. It's a gown type dress. You're not allowed to
Yeah,
put any other style, just the red gown. It could be like heavily brocaded or just the red, but the color has to be red because it symbolizes the color of goddess Taleju. Yeah, so
yeah, yeah. What has been your emotional journey since the time you got this divine status?
till now, you mean?
Since the beginning, you realized that you were a goddess.
As I said, I was like really blessed to be the goddess. And sometimes like people used to say that, being a goddess is like locking she cannot go outside anywhere of her house. And it's like locking a girl inside four walls and restricting her, growth, the physical growth and everything is she's being kept as secluded from the outside world. There's a lot of controversy regarding this culture.
Yeah,
But, in my 10 years of experience as a goddess, I take it more positively because since
yeah,
I was a child, I got that whole time to focus into the spiritual growth aspect, and I was like, I feel like if I had gone outside as a normal kid, I would be just as normal as all other girls are. Just I'll be just going to school, I'll be just doing my modern things, learning and all those stuffs. But as a goddess, I could focus more into some spiritual aspects. I believe I have like good spiritual knowledge as well, and into like because I was a Kumari, I think the qualities that a Kumari has helped me to even throughout my career now to be shaped as who I am as today. So there's a lot of things that I learned being a Kumari and that I apply here in my modern life, and I'm still like good. That journey is so beautiful.
that would be interesting to know, because I would call it a blessed life for sure, because it is several things that a normal human being would possibly learn in a lifetime or would not be fortunate to at all learn. There are so many lives who are just lived for, in, as we say, just sleep, eat, get up, do, and one day die. So, a purpose led life is to be really crafted. So, from a divinity point of view, not all lives are blessed to understand the first level of spirituality. What is your understanding of spirituality from that perspective?
Um, I don't. I think spirituality is a very vague concept, but I would say spirituality is not about being, religious or being attached to some kind of godly figure. It's something that comes within you. It's a process. It's an internal process. Like it's kind of uplifting your soul and trying to be a better person every day, right? And trying to realize, oh, what is your purpose in the life and why have you come here, and not just focusing into this materialistic world. And for some people the process can be closely linked with the practices, the ritual practices. Like some may go to a god, a guru maybe, let's say, and some may do yoga or meditation, but that's just a part of process. But spirituality as a whole is a very vague concept and is a very big broader concept, I would say. And that is all about practicing, about helping others with compassion, and helping ourselves to be better than yesterday.
Very well said. So, do you practice any of the rituals, religious rituals that you were practicing as a Kumari? Is there any layover when you come back to the normal life?
There are some rules that we have to follow as a goddess. Like the main one that we're not allowed to go outside, and even our parents, they have to treat us as a goddess, like not as their daughters, but as a goddess. They are not allowed to scold their daughter, and everything, like uh, it's served first, like the food and
Yeah.
everything. It has to be pure, and there are some food restrictions. We're not allowed to have chicken and chicken eggs, pork. There are restrictions. We're not allowed to wear leather shoes, and because I've been the goddess for 10 years of my life, I've been so used to with that rituals that I still don't feel comfortable in wearing that leather shoes. And
Hmm.
um there's like now I can wear any other clothes that is of different color, not other than red, but there's still some things that I do follow to respect
Yes.
the culture that I had been spending my childhood with. So
Yeah. Yeah. How does it feel to now leave that divine status, or you feel that spiritually you are still connected to being that living goddess?
um I think the status as in living goddess, it's a very mixed emotions, like, because I was a living goddess for a very long time. For 10 years of your life
Yeah,
is a long time, and I have had a one lifestyle. So many people's coming in to see you every day, greeting you. Everyone is giving you love, respect, and not just respect, it's like worshiping. You are just as a god in the temple, you are the
yeah.
god here and the goddess here, right? So you get all the um positive things, and you're just kept
Mm,
away from all those negative bubbles outside your house. And when you have to go out and face that negativity, of course it's going to be difficult, right?
yeah.
um when I was like 12 or 13, my mom started telling me that, okay, you cannot be a goddess forever. Like, when you will have your period, you'll have to go back to your normal life, and people will not worship you. You will, or you may not be like getting this sort of respect, and you'll have to
Mm,
start a life on your own again. She was counseling me with that, and I
mm,
was kind of imagining myself into that situation. How would my first day at school be like? How would I be like buying my first clothes in a shop? I was kind of imagining myself into that situation as preparing myself for the day to come. But when
yes.
that day came in the reality, it was very shocking, very,
Mm,
like, mixed emotions. Like, I was sad because I was about to lose that status as a goddess. I had to give over all the dear belongings of the
mm,
goddess to another young Kumari. And then there was also some sort of uncertainty as to how I will be able to cope up with the new world, how people will accept me or not. And it was a lot of curiosity things that were going on. Definitely, you know we had to go back to the life, where, like, be normal, where you didn't know the meaning of being normal.
mm.
So it was
True.
really hard. The transition took some time, but I had my parents there supporting me. And, like, because we're not allowed to go outside, even the basic things like walking to a nearby place, it was hard.
Mm,
And I had my parents hold my hand and teach me how to walk at the age of 15 when I retired, and they had to teach me how to walk. And they used to take me to a nearby place, a nearby landmark,
mm,
just for me to get used to the outside world. It was like, even in back in school, I was like, as a goddess, I got individually tutored. The teacher would come, and even like teacher would be more respectful to me as a goddess. And
yes.
I would never get scolded if I don't do the homework. But like, in back in school, there were 40 other kids in the classroom, and the teacher was standing like far behind. It was The whole technique of teaching was different, and it
Different.
was very strange. So it took some time to get that, used to with, like, every new thing. Like, every day there would something event would happen, and I would have a learning from it. It was like
Mm.
that. So it was hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And during childhood, the brain practically undergoes very rapid growth and development. So
Mhm.
this period is critical for actually forming the all the neural circuits that happen that underpin both your cognitive and your emotional functions, Just and this is the
Mm.
time when you take up this role. So once these circuits are established in your brain, and I'm talking from the neuroscience point of view, they tend to have a very lasting impact on an individual, and that's how children grow up. That's how we say that childhood is very important. The experiences that happen in the childhood can really deeply consolidate your thinking, how you feel, how your emotional balance is going to be in the life, or how strong mentally you are going to be. It becomes a long term memory. So these memories then can be a very integral part of who you are. So I am trying to understand that A is you trying to learn physically now how to walk, how to understand geography,
Mhm.
but mentally at such an early age to completely disconnect. Is it fair? Is it fair for any human being to go through this?
I think change is a part of life. Like, if you imagine a young girl, a normal girl who had been in that outside environment, who had like been growing in that environment, going to school, playing with other kids, and growing up in their modern life. But compared to me as a living goddess who had spent like 10 years of her life into spiritual world inside the house and without having that connection with the outside world, and suddenly one day I have to go outside. So the transition was like 2 to 3 months. And the girl who was the normal girl outside, she had that whole time to learn everything and to be prepared about the world outside. But for
Yeah.
me, it was only 2 3 months or maybe like 5 6 months to learn everything what she had been doing since her childhood. So I believe, as a Kumari, I had a very less time to prepare for the world outside, and I did it successfully. So there's the quality, of adapting to the change, quickly adapting to the change, and acceptability. Change is a part of our life, so I think the adaptability was blessed on me as a part of like
Mhm.
being a goddess.
Yeah.
So it's how you take it, it was, as I said, it was like strange, because the main thing that I found really weird in the outside world was that people were very rude. They were, not that respectful as they were, and
Yeah.
people were only very self-centered and all those things. And it was very strange to, accept those facts. Like physical thing, it's okay, it's going through it,
Yeah.
everything. But then, the aspects like how to know people and how like they have like double face, and me being innocent because I was like a goddess, I had that compassion for everyone. I was listening to all the prayers of the devotees that I have that generated the the compassion and kindness and
Hmm.
empathy to everyone, and going back to the world with that kind heart and empathy, and finding that people do not deserve that. Either way, it's like people who do not deserve that. It was kind of you know um, a very weird situation for my brain,
Yes.
but
Yes.
yes, I think it's a part of life. It's that's how you grow.
Absolutely. This brings me to a very important question that I really want to ask you is that you have successfully done that. And that's the reason we are talking, because several people who go through difficulties posed by the external world, you know, give into those situations. I really want to know, how did you navigate your brain? Because now you are exposed to the reality. That safety net is off, that entire mirage of the godly respect that was coming. How did you, what was you telling your own brain? Did you go back to your parents, seek help, or how did you navigate it?
um there were like my parents were always there to support me, and as I said, I was preparing myself for the day, so I had kind of imagined myself in the situation, but the experience was completely different than what I had imagined. So it's always like there is uncertainty in life, and there is a lot of like confusions on how to deal with it. But only thing I
Hmm.
was saying is that to myself is that this is a part of our life, and I don't get connected with some things, don't get attached to anything, because change is coming, and you have to accept it, like let it flow with the time. You don't maybe as told you about the spirituality, not being reactive to the situations, be it good ones or be it the bad ones. Take it as it is, live in your present, and you know some things that are hurting you today, some things that you think is important, will not matter to you in like next 10 days or maybe in the year. So just accept the things as they come and try to give your best, and then you can do it. That is how.
Absolutely. When you face the first difficult person, what was more difficult, people or situation?
uh,
In the real world, in the real world.
I think people.
So I want to know that story, uh, the first shock that you got. And
um I think like people are very selfish. Like could be like
Mhm.
they are not true to their face sometimes. Like I think the most is amazing thing, like in my life, like the shocking thing that I got was like I found one of my friend, my classmates actually, who lied to me. And later I found out that it was a lie, and it was like first time someone ever lied to me. I was like, how can people do this to me? I was like,
Yeah, 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 yeah. What is the one big difference that you saw in the real world and in the world? This is a very important thing I want to know, because all the human beings, like normal human beings, we go to temples, and when we are reaching that supreme power, God or infinity or whoever we believe in, is more powerful than us in terms of not the power, but then when we are let down, we want to go and we want to rescue ourselves
Mhm.
in a safe place where we know this is that one person, that one individual,
Mhm.
one power that's not going to harm us. I think we just go to rescue ourselves in the safe haven of God because we know God cannot harm us.
Mhm.
What is it that you felt when you left your divine status and when you came to the real world, that how human beings actually play differently in front of the God and when they are in front of the human beings?
Um, I think nowadays people they do not like based on their every act they do not know that God is always having a look on their what they are doing. Like God is always watching over you, so they forget and they just hurt people, hurt animals maybe, and they forget that that animals and even like all people whom they are hurting is also the childrens of God, and they should not be doing that. So they all the crime and everything is happening because they forget that there is a punishment for them in their afterlife, maybe. And I think a lot of people are so much into this materialistic world that they just forget to practice. They go to gym maybe to build up their bodies, and they go to hospitals, they go to clinics to take care of the body, but they should also be looking after their soul, which is
Yeah.
praying to the God, which is maybe taking care of other childrens of God, like not hurting anyone and trying to be empathetic and helping everyone in need. So that I do not find in most of the people. Like, they just forget that they
They are
the
mortals.
behavior of humanity that is
Yeah.
most important. And in today's world, I think it is somehow going lower. Like maybe in terms of war, the crime that is happening all over the world, it is kind of getting the scarier and scarier. So the situation.
Yes. Yes. So from here, when you transitioned, um, the first thing that you saw as a reality was now you are in the normal world
Hmm.
of human beings,
Hmm.
and you have to get food on the table, you have to do something. What were your thoughts? Why did you think of building a career? I'm now talking to Chanira ji, who is a financial analyst, and this is such an inspirational thing. Many people, when they see first failure in their life, they feel their life is over.
Hmm.
And here we are talking about a living goddess living in the best comforts,
Hmm.
even the best of the dignitaries coming and bowing down themselves in front of you, to a life which you have to start from the beginning. So I'm actually looking at your life like here,
Hmm.
the living goddess, to
Hmm.
the life which is a normal human being. And now you have to earn it again back to who you want to be in your career, in your life. So, what was your preparation?
Mm. I think now going back to the normal world, it is, being a goddess is not something that you can put in a CV to earn the status you
Yeah.
want. You have to start everything from the beginning. And I think it's a part of life as we need to, I think as I always, say education is most important in today's world. And if you realize in the past, like there was a situation where women were never given the rights to for equal education. And even in Nepal, or maybe in some parts of India as well, there are a lot of places which is very like male dominated. The women do not have their voice just to put on, and there's still a lot of things. But as a woman, I think I needed to challenge that. And
Hmm.
being a goddess, it was like who's even worshipped or revered by the kings and the head of the states. I am continuously watched by everyone. So the woman, the my life should be an example for everyone. That is how I believe. And in
Absolutely.
such situations where women do not get their life, maybe like look at the situation of the goddess Kumari, who is also a girl at the same time. And we need to know that every girl, every woman has a goddess inside her, and she needs to have that right to keep her voice, right to study, and right to do whatever she wants to do in her life, and to be like capable. So I think as a goddess, and not just as a goddess but as an every normal person, we need to struggle in life and to be in the position where you deserve to be. And that is why I think it's important to grow up in the corporate world as well, and to give an example for the other ex goddess I mean other goddesses, who are the next generations of kumaris to come, and not just the kumaris, all the other women, to show that despite spending the 10 years of life in a different lifestyle, and coming through those transitions of hardships and everything, and now I'm working in a I think it's a good environment. I'm working in a good
Mm-hmm.
environment, and there's a lot of situations where like people think that it's over because of some maybe depression or things like that. But if
Mm-hmm.
they can challenge it, and if they can accept the fact and take learnings from their past life and apply it in their new life to grow, then that is always possible. So that is what I wanted to show.
Very beautifully put, because whenever there is a life which is no more going to be in existence, just call it a life which is over and start over new is, I believe,
Yeah.
what you're trying to say. So let's talk about public perception now. So how do people react when they learn about that you were a past, or everybody, is it safe to say everybody in Nepal would know you, that you were the living goddess? How do
If they
people
hear
react?
my name, if
Yeah,
they hear my name, they would know. But like when we are goddesses, we are in a very different makeup, the
yeah.
goddess makeup and ornaments. So if once you stop being a goddess and you don't have that makeup on, you will be almost unrecognizable as a person, as Chanira. And like but still, as an ex-goddess, we have that status in our society. People come to us for like spiritual advice as well. And there are a lot of people coming to meet Kumari and get knowledge about the Kumaris. We, as an ex goddess, also have that um, role to play
Yeah.
in our religious events, and people see us with respect. That respect is not gone. We're not worshipped anymore, but still, whenever someone knows that she's an ex goddess, and they either come up with a lot of questions, they're curious about my past life, and yeah, just very respectful, I think.
Or at least they won't lie to you.
Yes, maybe.
So, from your perspective, how does the this tradition of Kumari interact with the broader roles and expectations of women in Nepal, specifically?
Oh, sorry, can I just have that? Can you just
Uh, yeah, sure. So, from that perspective of that woman is worshipped like a goddess in Nepal, a living woman, right? It's not just a deity in the temple. How does it fit, this tradition fit into how women are treated in Nepal, or the expectation of women in Nepal as a society?
I think, like as I said, Nepal is what used to be at least a male-dominated country. Where even in rural parts of Nepal, there are some, what do you call, practices
Mm-hmm.
which is not in the favor of women. Like there's a pratha, it's called chhapradi pratha, where menstruating girls are supposed to live, they're forced to live in shed. The first time if they menstruate, they are taken to the cow shed, and they have to live there in cold, and they die because of that. And in the rural part of like Nepal, students, they do not go to school, like even the students, they have to walk like 4 hours to get to the school, and even the boys do not have that privilege at all. So I think when I look into this Kumari culture, there are a lot of critics who question that the Kumari culture is ruining the children's life. Like she does not get the basic rights and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But I should, to those people, I say that it's just one girl who
Yeah.
is representing, this issue, who is the center of faith for so many thousands of people, right? She's being revered by even the kings, and the highest dignitaries, and she is living a very good life. And it was true in the past that Kumaris were not allowed to get educated, because like people believe that Kumari is a goddess herself, and she is knowledgeable, she knows everything, no one
Yeah.
needs to teach a goddess, and who would dare to become a teacher of a goddess, right? So in the past, Kumaris were never educated, and imagine their life, like when they were not a goddess anymore, and they had no education, they had to come back to a society with very less knowledge.
Yeah.
I imagine that they must have faced a lot of cultural shock,
Yeah.
right? But nowadays, there was. there have been some changes to the rules. Now Kumaris are allowed to have education, and other classmates from her school can come inside the palace, though she's not allowed to go outside. She can spend some time with the friends and talk, so that she can learn some social skills. And if they're interested, they're also learning some extra activities like technologies, and maybe music, dance, and all those things are brought inside her palace for her growth. So we are preparing her, making the rules more lenient for her, so that
Yeah.
the tradition should continue, but not at the cost of her career. So we are trying to balance those, and prepare a better life for the one who is the Kumari, right? So the ones who question, the critics who question that this is violating the child rights and all those stuff, I think they should
Mm,
pay that attention towards those girls in the rural area who are facing such
mm,
pitiful situation. They do not have that right to education. I think there are hundreds of those girls, I mean thousands of those girls, who still need attention from the government. And I think let's just take this example of Kumari culture on one stage where she's holding the supreme power in the country, and the other
yeah.
girls who are like being dominated. So I think the Kumari culture stands as an example of the positivity on how the Kumaris are to be treated, not how the women are to be treated, I mean to
Mm,
say,
mm,
right? So as I said, every woman is a goddess, and they need to be treated with a lot of respect. They need to have all the best things, maybe in terms of equality, and in terms of education, in terms of rights. So I think the Kumari culture should serve as that example for the other women of the country, right? And
yes.
even for the ones who are ruling the country, they should focus their right. I mean, focus their what do you say?
A social
Attention to the, yeah,
status
yeah.
attention to it, absolutely, absolutely. So do you see in future a modern relevance? Do you see after 25 years,
Mm-hmm.
how the way the very very fast way world is changing? Do you see the youngsters,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about Gen Alpha and absolutely young people, you see them in a contemporary way continuing with this tradition?
I think yes, in the 25 years old, I think nowadays even the young children's, and I say during the festivals where there's a big festival of Kumari where the chariot is pulled,
Yeah,
and I see a lot of young people, young energies participating in the festival. I think even the old people and the old generation is handing over everything to the young ones, and they are continuing the legacy with a lot of energy. So I still see that this will continue, because you know I see that charm, the craze that people have over the culture to protect it. And I think here in Nepal, especially the Newari community where the Kumari belongs to, they are very much closely connected with their culture. They are very inclined towards their culture, so they can do anything to protect the legacy of the culture. But I still believe, like, with changing time, there could be some changes in the rules and regulations of Kumari's life. Maybe, as I said, education was not possible. Now it is, the Kumari is
yeah,
getting educated, right? The rules can be made lenient. Maybe the full time Kumari will also get some hybrid kind of um, thing that the other Kumaris are
yes.
getting. But there will be some changes, but the culture will not stop. Definitely, because of the change in time, I think, at least for some next 50, 100 years.
For sure, and it is very important to be preserving our culture. But
Yeah.
as you said, that it needs to revive itself to
Mhm.
suit the rightful thing for everyone. It should not be like, because ultimately, living goddess, as you rightly said, is very it's a very beautiful phenomenon to be able to understand that how women are to be respected in the
Mhm.
society,
Mhm.
wherein we continue to face some kind of inequality all over the world. So as I said, Nepal is beautiful place because here you have Shiva and here you have Shakti that comes alive
Mhm.
for its people. So it's a great example for the world to be set in, and I believe the conversation that we are having must reach a lot of people because it's about changing the world for the right reasons, right? And changing the world for the notions of how human beings are supposed to live their life with compassion. I think that notion is
Mhm.
reducing worldwide. So it sets a great example. I want to ask you that what do you wish someone had told you at the beginning of your journey as a Kumari, though you were very small, but if you were to think of that one thing, what would be that?
Um, not sure. Not sure.
What is that one advice you want to give to anybody who's going to be selected as a Kumari?
Okay. Like I have been like doing helping the current Kumari with her rituals and all this stuff. I think during the um like during her journey as a Kumari, because she gets like like she gets less chances to open up with the people from outside. She cannot talk with the outsiders. That's why, and it's she's like within that limited circle of her families and relatives. I think they should um like Kumari cannot talk to anyone from the outside. So I think the families and the relatives, they should give her the chance to share her experiences, maybe,
Yes.
right? And focus on her growth. Actually, in terms of like presenting herself, maybe. So, if I recall one example, when I stopped being a goddess and I had to go back to the college and I had to like present for the first time in front of like those 40 other students, and I was like, I stood there silent for like 2 3 minutes and I could not even utter a word there, and
Yeah.
everyone knew my situation, so they were respectful. They gave
Yeah.
me a chance, and everyone there, like, they stood up and said that you can do it, you can do it, and we are just as your friends, and speak up, come on. And then I just gave a presentation, and which was really good. In fact, I
Mm.
had that inside us, like, when the
Mm.
quality to speak up inside, but then we need that little push,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
bring that self confidence. And I would like those families, the relatives of Kumaris, to always be that constant push to the Kumari, so that
Mm.
she does not forget her qualities. She does not forget her capabilities, I would say. So yeah, just I would advise that.
Absolutely. And that's a very real world example, because sometimes we feel that we are the unfortunate ones, or we don't have social skills, or we lack it. There are so many girls. I mean, if I were to give you the numbers, you will be amazed to know that
Mm.
even in this modern society, there is so much of less confidence in girls, because constantly we are trying to compete with so many other people. And here I am talking to a living goddess who was worshipped, and still you have to come back to the real world with the real world problems. And you have to deal with them and you have to solve them,
Yes.
right? So, Chanira ji, what next for you in your life?
Like, after my journey as a Kumari were over, I think there's a lot to do in terms of developing this Kumari culture. Like, education was the only thing that was very rare in the Kumaris in the past. Like, people struggled, like the ex-Kumaris did not have like education, and I was one of the first Kumari to appear in the national level examination as a goddess myself. So
Wow.
that news came in all the media, like
Yeah.
every newspaper, every TV covered that this year the living goddess is appearing in this national level examinations, right? And then people knew that, okay, even Kumaris could study. There's no
Mm.
myth like that Kumari cannot study and the teacher will face some course or something like that. So people knew that Kumaris could study, and then the good schools and colleges, they started sponsoring the Kumaris education, and now
Wonderful.
it is like sponsoring.
Yeah.
And I think it has changed. It has helped a lot. So the generations of Kumari are getting education, right?
When people see the girls that you spoke about in the villages deep down, when they see living goddess herself trying to build a career and
Mm.
study, it's going to be very inspirational for all of
Yes,
them,
yes, definitely. It's
right?
a big change in the culture, and it's a big
Yeah.
motivation for all the, it's a big inspiration for all the other girls, and that's important. That was a big change in the culture, Kumari's culture. And I see that such changes are to be made. There's still a lot to do for the Kumaris. Even
Mm.
in, like, a lot of myths that are related to the Kumari culture has to be cleared. Like, when I
Yes.
see nowadays the videos about the Kumaris, and I read about the comments, it's like people just, they do not, because most of the people are from a different culture, so they do not understand the essence of what it is, the positive aspect, and they tend to focus only on the negative aspect, and try to exaggerate the things and present it the way to get views of the people, but not the reality. So I want to give the broader perspective of to the people of how, from my 10 years of experience, how the Kumari's life is all about, and clear out all those myths. So there's a lot to do in this aspect.
Let's talk about one myth that you want to just smash right now on this podcast today? Let's do that.
I think there are many, many myths. I think the one is about the marriage. Like people believe that
Mm.
the ex-kumaris, if they marry, the husband will die in a year. Right? There's
Oh,
a
really?
Yes, I think there's one big myth there. As and I think just because like we as a goddess, as I said earlier, we have to have that 32 qualities, and we have to match that. We have the very best of the horoscope. So in our normal, even in our normal life, if there is a one with the higher level of horoscope and the other with the stronger birth star and the weaker one, if
Yeah.
there is a match between both of them, then there would be a clash, right? The stronger one will dominate the weaker one. So I think we have that strongest of horoscope and all those things. So that might be the reason that people think. And also, there is because of this myth that the husband will die in 1 year. They're very afraid to approach the ex-kumaris, and I don't know. They still believe that we have that remains of power as a goddess from our time as a goddess, and maybe like we might curse them. So, but there are so many.
It'll come true.
Yeah, but so many ex-kumaris are already there who have, married. They have that children, and they're living a very happy life. But that's not in,
Yeah.
you know.
Let's talk about that. I think this is very, very
Mhm.
important. This is extremely important. Has it happened that any Kumari has gotten married and the husband has died in 1 years of
No, no,
time? It has never happened in the
no,
history.
never.
And this is a news flash,
Yeah.
right? This is an absolute news flash. So this myth has to be abolished. And I believe on this podcast, we have tried to abolish that myth.
Actually, there's a story related to it. Like Kumari was a goddess, was a part of like we have Astamatrikas, which is an eight mother
Mm,
goddesses, and we believe that these eight goddesses protect our country from all the demons and everyone, from the bad energy. And Kumari is one of those, the eight goddesses. So there's a
mm,
legend where there was a demon who took a form of god, and uh, he kind of lured Kumari. So the Kumari fell in love with the demon, and then the demon started like having more power, as because the
mm,
Kumari would leak their secrets of gods to the demon, and they knew the secrets, and they were the gods were becoming weaker in front of the demons. So
mm,
later, one of the other goddesses, she told Kumari that the one you are in love with is not a god. In fact, is a demon, and he's trying to take over the nation or something, the area.
mm,
So you have to choose among your nation or your love. What do you want to choose? So the goddess said that okay, like I would kill the demon. I would
mm,
she just took a sword, and then she just killed her love, and then she saved her nation from the demon. But at the same time, she vowed that she would not get married in her life, in respect of the love that she has given to that demon. So she kind of balanced between her a role of a protector goddess to
mm.
the nation, and also giving an honor to her love that she had towards that demon. So
Absolutely.
that's why Kumari's literal meaning is like unmarried. The Kumari means
Yes.
so.
And
That's
this
why we.
holds true. This story also to respect the story of
Mhm,
the history or mythology
mhm,
or culture. The story
mhm.
holds true till such time you're a Kumari. So absolutely right.
Right, right.
The moment
But
you
after we
exit
are a
that role,
Kumari, yeah,
you're the
yeah.
best Kumari anybody can marry, is what I believe, because nobody has to. You're the most compassionate human being that anybody can look up to as a life partner. How's your life been, Chariraji? Your personal
Uh,
life?
so It's doing great. I just like after I stopped being a Kumari, I just continued my education. I completed my bachelor's and did my MBA from Kathmandu University, which is one of the best university in
Wow.
Nepal. And then I joined an Australian mortgage company. I'm working there as a credit analyst. It's been a journey, from a role where I was not allowed to speak to anyone to be in a role um, in a international company where I had to like convince
Yes.
hundreds of clients, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I am still focusing more onto my career. I do want to continue my education, maybe do PhD and do some research on the Kumari culture, and present that the book of reality to the world. There's still a lot to do on this aspect.
We really can't wait to have your book out whenever it happens. And I'm very, very sure that it's going to be very insightful, inspirational to the whole lot of younger generation who's going to look up to you for what you have done. I also believe that you have taken some steps, as you said, about enhancing the way education should be for the Kumari. So you've already started taking those steps. Would you want to throw some light on any initiative that is going on currently?
I think like the Kumari from Kathmandu, which I said, the revered one, she has that all the facilities from the government. But the Kumari from Patan,
Yeah.
in my time, it was really hard for the Kumaris. Like people, the families were, following the culture only out of respect for the culture. The family would have to give up a lot of things. When the daughter is a Kumari, there's like hundreds of devotees coming every day to see her, and even if the father and the mother is like working, they cannot go
Mm.
to work because they have to stay and take care of the goddess all the time. So it's a big financial problem as well for the family, right? And a lot of things like um regarding the education, they had to like imagine, like think about a mother who's giving up her daughter to the culture, and maybe like she would be constantly worried about the future of her daughter, right? So there's a lot of things to do in this aspect, and I have been like helping the other generation of kumaris to, in regards with education. I want to make sure that they get that education. So my mom, she's a super mom, I would say. She had having her daughter home, she was like she had to go and find a school for 3 months. Like I was not educated when I was in grade 2 when I was chosen, and when I became goddess I could not go outside, so I had to leave that school. And then
Mm.
there was no teacher coming to teach me, so for 3 months she had to go and search in schools and request teachers to come in. And at the time there was like this myth that kumaris are knowledgeable and the teachers would deny to come and teach a goddess. So she was my mom, she was like really ready to pay any amount, and she needed to find a teacher. And finally we found a school where she enrolled me, and she was like paying a whole lot of amount for that. And then that's how I started educate like studying. So this thing, when the national exam that I gave, it was in the media, so people knew that kumaris could study, and now the things are easier. But still there isn't a school that is responsible for the kumaris education. They're still dependent on the parents, right? And my
Yeah.
mom did a lot of put a lot of requests in the government to increase the amount, the allowance, the education allowance, to be added in the kumaris expenses, right? There are a lot of expenses that goes on, and
Yeah.
sh- now as a ex kumaris we also get some pension from the government. But I would still like the government to focus on ex kumaris life, like maybe provide some quotas for scholarships in universities if they want to pursue higher education, maybe provide some quotas for her job career. And for all those years of her childhood that she has spent in the name of culture, she should get something in return from the state, right? So that is our motive. So we are still
Mhm.
continuing to push that government and get the best of the financial support for the Kumaris, and at the same time, giving that mental support to the Kumaris during the transition, and helping them with their education, with their transition, and overall, like easing their transition to the more modern life, whatever can be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if not quotas or anything, maybe just the rightful, hybrid model of one being a Kumari and one
Mhm,
being getting educated so that they can be
mhm,
equipped for the world to come.
mhm.
Chanira ji, your last words on this podcast. I want to have a lot of more in-depth conversation with you as you move along, and once your book is out, we'll have a very, very detailed conversation on how you are living a meaningful life, and that is what matters. Anything you want to tell the world as a message?
Um, I'm really happy to be the part of this podcast. Thank you, Punamji. As a message, I would like to say that, especially to all the women out there, just believe in yourself. As I said, you are a goddess in yourself, and if you want to pursue anything in life, you have that energy within you. You can get a push from someone whom you look upon as a role model, and always keep that self confidence up. And despite all the challenges that you have faced in your past life, we should always focus on present and work out, just as Sri Krishna said, just work and focus on your you can also change your destiny, because in some pages he has written, that may as you wish, right? So just put your hard work, and do not fall into the trap of, like, results, but always work hard, and the outcome will always be good.
So very well said. That is something that came right from a living goddess for sure. Chanira ji, thank you so much. It was such an honor to
Thank
have
you.
this conversation
Thank you.
with you. I hope not just in Nepal, but all over worldwide, people watch this and get such immense inspiration that is lacking in the world. I hope it changes the world a little bit and build the element of consciousness. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.